Mariana becomes a butterfly, an agricultural engineering story. Chapter 2, My Plant Puzzle. "Tia Letty," I called from her front walkway. She came outside and gave me a big hug. "How are you, Mariana?" Tia Letty asked. "I have a puzzle for you," I said. "Papa said you could help me with it." We sat down at the table in Tia Letty's backyard. The plants in her garden were in full bloom. Everywhere I looked, there were splashes and dots of blue, yellow, orange, red, and green. As the flowers swayed back and forth in the breeze, they looked like fluttering butterfly wings. "So what is this puzzle, Mariana?" asked Tia Letty. I explained the problems I was having with my Ohelo plant. "I have been watering it and taking extra special care of it, but it's no use." "That's a puzzle," Tia Letty said, "but it's one I bet we can solve if we ask some good questions. Do you know how plants make seeds?" I nodded eagerly. "Yes, Papa told me. It starts with pollination." "That's right," Tia Letty said. She had on her teacher face now. Tia Letty loves to teach me new things. But do you know how pollination works? I nodded. Sometimes when an insect lands on a plant, the pollen sticks to the insect. I've seen it happen with bees and butterflies on my maguey flowers. If the pollen stuck to that insect falls off onto another maguey flower, that maguey can make seeds. Remember, Papa, that one time I got pollen all over my nose? Once I had put my nose into a flower to smell how sweet it was. When I pulled away from the flower, Papa laughed and pointed at my face. I had yellow powder, like fine flour, on my nose. I had picked up the pollen from the flower. "What a good memory you have, Mariana. You were just a little Mariposa then," Papa said. "And many plants that have berries," Tia Letty explained. "The seeds are inside the berries." "So that's why there were little seeds in my Ohelo berries," I said. "If my plant is having trouble making new seeds, does that mean it isn't being pollinated?" "That's an interesting guess. A hypothesis," said Tia Letty. "Scientists and engineers like me make hypotheses when we have ideas we want to test. Can you think of a way to test your hypothesis?" "I could watch my Ohelo plant to see if any insects visit it and pollinate it," I said. Tia Letty reached into her bag and pulled out a notebook. "An engineer like you will certainly need a place to take notes about what you see. You can have this journal to record your observations." "Thank you, Tia Letty," I said. "I can't wait to get started." Chapter 3, Watching the Insects. Each day as I took care of my garden, I observed which plants the insects visited. I drew pictures of the insects, kept track of how many I saw, and wrote down what they did. By watching the insects in my garden carefully, I made some new discoveries. I've always spent so much time watching butterflies flutter around that I didn't realize butterflies in all different stages of life lived in my garden. Butterflies start their lives inside tiny little eggs. I found some hiding underneath the leaves of one of my plants. They don't look much like the eggs we eat for breakfast. They look soft, like jelly. Out of an egg comes a larva. We call it a caterpillar. I watched a little caterpillar crawl across a shiny green plant leaf. The caterpillar munches on the leaves to grow fat and healthy. When it is ready, the caterpillar becomes a pupa. The pupa develops a shiny little sac called a chrysalis. Finally, it emerges as a colorful butterfly. As I watched the caterpillar inch across the leaf, chomping away, I wondered what color wings it would grow. I wonder if the insects in my garden ever watch me grow. As I get bigger each year, my legs and arms get longer. And sometimes I change the way I wear my hair. But I still look like Mariana. As butterflies go through metamorphosis, the changes in their bodies as they grow, they look very different at each stage of their lives. A passion flower butterfly fluttered over and landed on the same bush where I was watching the caterpillar. I slowly crouched down next to the plant so I wouldn't scare the butterfly. Its body was glossy black, with tiny fuzzy hairs covering its thin legs. The butterfly's beautiful wings were still. It's hard to imagine that those paper-thin wings let the butterfly move through the air, almost like magic. I looked back at the roly-poly caterpillar moving across the leaf. Was the caterpillar looking at the butterfly just like I was? I wondered if the caterpillar knew that someday it would have wings and fly too. The week passed. I saw insects visit my maguey flowers, my orchids, and my white plumeria flowers. Bees visited, butterflies visited, even some flies visited, but not one insect visited my ohelo plant. Chapters 2 and 3 talk about question. What does Mariana do that proves she is a good scientist?